Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. And we will be starting our second round of after coffee break panel with 3 talks. The 3 of them are going to be online. Thank you very much for everyone who is already online on Teams, and thank you everyone who's come here to hear you talk. We'll be opening up with Irati Jimenez Perez's talk. Irati holds a degree in translation and interpreting from EATU, in addition to having completed a master's degree in English Literature and Cultural Studies under Social Impact in UNED, and participating in the postgraduate program Ontology of the Robot, Posthumanism and Transhumanism. She's currently a PhD candidate in the Comparative Literature and Literary Studies program in EATU, with a project frame in critical animal studies. Her thesis aims at analyzing the phenomenon of evolution of the anthropomorphization of non-human animals in literature, as well as experimenting in the field of creative writing with the aim of finding new narrative forms that can represent other ways of being beyond the human. She also combines academic activity with teaching literary and creative writing workshops, and she's here to give us her talk, From Myth to Reality, Non-Human Animals, Western Literary Depiction. So whenever you're ready, Irati, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. One question, should I share my screen myself?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. Give me 1 sec.
Same thing for the rest of the presenters. Whenever it's your turn, please do share your PowerPoints yourself if you can.
Okay. Yeah, is it okay? Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, and also thanks to the organizing team for your incredible job. So today I want to talk about how Western literature has represented non-human animals from antiquity to the present in Western cultures. We'll see how non-human animals have evolved from divine symbols to allegorical tools, then moral narrators, and finally to an attempt of becoming literary subjects in their own right. So through this analysis, my objective is to prove literature's role in perpetuating anthropocentric perspectives about obviously non-human animals, and to show how important literary creation might be to reconsider our past, our present, and our future relationships with other beings in the world. So, hey, 1 sec. Yeah. Okay. So I will be following a chronological order over 5 periods in history, as you can see here on the slide. And we are going to start with antiquity. So during these eras, non-human animal worship happened through the symbolic association of deities with non-human animals. And here on the slide, we have a couple of examples. In ancient Egypt, the gods Horus and Ra were commonly depicted as hawks, symbolizing power and protection. And also here we have another picture about with Greece. In both Greece and Rome, they were linked to gods. Here, for example, we have Artemis's sacred deer, but also we also have Zeus's eagle. But what I want to tell you with all these examples is that non-human animals basically they remained symbolic extensions of these divine forces, and they weren't seen as individualized beings. So this basically sets a precedent for reading non-human animals as metaphors and not as sentient beings, which will be repeated afterwards. But it is important to see how where did all this come from? Here I have three main aspects to take into account in order to answer this question. We have, for example, the Stoics, who basically they said that despite non-human animals' apparent capacity for reason, they were actually governed by instincts, as you can see on this quote. They are merely means to an end, and the end is man. And that was their objective. They wanted to say that they could be used for whatever humans wanted. Then we also have Aristotle's concept of scala naturae, through which basically he classified beings into fixed categories. And also Plato's objective to reinforce this strict dualism between humans and other animals as well. Then now we are going to move on to Christian times. So we have to take into account that contemporary Western attitudes towards non-human animals are deeply rooted in this Judeo-Christian tradition, particularly in its conceptualization of the earth and all its creatures as existent to serve human interests. And evidence for this is found in the Genesis, and it's a quote that I have. Okay, one sec. I'm gonna make it better like this. In this quote taken from the Genesis, we have, then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on earth." So basically it positioned humans as superior, following this way of thinking that Aristotle with his Scala Naturae had already preceded. And then they denied non-human animals reason and souls as well. So basically with the rise of Christian thought in the West, the border between human and non-human animals became more noticeable. This had obviously an impact on their depiction in fiction. We have folk tales, bestiaries, and basically non-human animals in these fiction functioned as mirrors, as metaphors, and could say mediators. They helped to construct and to communicate human norms, human fears, human aspirations, and basically taking that into account, we could say that the reality was completely disappeared. Okay, so then we move on to the Enlightenment and the years after this era. So the spread of anthropocentric conceptions of the world helped to justify during this time the traditional subordination of non-human animals. So, for instance, the most common way of thinking to be quoted here is Descartes' mindset, describing them, non-human animals, as automata, as mechanistic beings without any sort of consciousness. But however, here I want to focus on the counter currents that also appeared during this time, which we have here three of them. First of all, Henry Moore's The Immortality of the Soul from the 17th century. Here basically, although he still maintained the distinction between human and non-human souls, he actually defended the existence of what he called a spirit of nature that enabled life among all beings. So he saw this spirit of nature as something that we all had in common. Then we also have Adam Smith's The Theory of Moral Sentiments from the 18th century. Here he actually framed or started to frame sympathy towards non-human animals, but it was still quite anthropocentric. It was all justified because of all the good that that sympathy could give us humans. And then we also have Jeremy Bentham's work. He basically with this quote, the question is not can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer? So he started to introduce this idea of non-human animals actually suffering. So literature also contributed to all this by making non-human animals the narrators of their own stories. So these narrators, they basically told us their lives and the lives of suffering normally to actually make the readership be a little bit more aware of the cruelties that they have to go through. And then we move on to the 20th century and literary naturalism. So building on the realism popularized in the 19th century, the influence of Darwinian evolution, and also scientific rationalism, literary naturalism brought a new focus on non-human animals as part of ecological and social realities. So here we have, for example, Jack London, Ernest Seton. These authors depicted animals in realistic environments, emphasizing their needs, behaviors, and interactions, not only with humans, but rather among them about their own species. And then just to wrap it up a bit, we have contemporary literature here. So here we have the importance, we have to understand the importance of posthumanism, which basically has the objective of abandoning categorical dualities and propose that the world's complexity is best captured through non-binary thinking. In literature, posthumanism helps to challenge this human exceptionalism and advocates for non-human animals as subjects in their own right. This has also posed a complication as well in many literary works from nowadays because of anthropomorphism. How can we actually depict non-human animals through our own language, our own means of communication? And this is actually what I'm trying to research about in my own PhD work. So basically, to conclude, Western literature has transformed the depiction of non-human animals, reflecting evolving human thought, and ethics. So we can say that we move on from symbolic gods in antiquity to allegorical tools in Christianity to narrators in the Enlightenment, and finally experiencing subjects in contemporary literature, or actually aiming at trying to portray that. These shifts highlight the power of literature to reshape our moral imagination. And also, we could say that recognizing animals as literary subjects also encourages us to reconsider our relationships with other forms of life, both ethically and imaginatively. And this was all I wanted to present you today. This overview, this actually belongs to the first chapters of, is a sum up of the first chapters of my PhD project. I really hope that you found it interesting. I will be happy to answer any questions that you have afterwards. And here, just in case you are interested, you have a QR code where you can find all the bibliography that I have used for this piece of research. So thank you so much.